13 and a half years ago, I felt the Lord calling me and my family to Minnesota to work at a Korean Presbyterian church, leading the second generation English ministry people, and I did that for a while. And then we had an African American come to our church. The sign clearly said Korean Presbyterian Church. He was none of those things. We had a Liberian immigrant come to our church, and I said, Lord, I have some expertise that I've developed over the years in Korean immigrant, second generation English speaking ministry. Why are you trying to mess me up and make me look like a fool? So it's about me and my reputation and my competence and all that. But I mean, that really led me to wonder whether I was doing gospel ministry, the ministry of biblical reconciliation, or whether I was just a tribal religious leader for people who look like me. So when going through that crisis of integrity as a pastor led me to say something is deeply wrong when I speak English and I grew up in this country and I'm doing tribal religion. And so multicultural ministry, the ministry of reconciliation for us was as simple as just taking another human being seriously as a human being made in the image of God and then going from there. It's no new program, it's no new trend. It's not the next wave, it's just loving people. To talk about what reconciliation is without defining what it is not is to invite confusion and distrust in the dialogue itself. Reconciling your checkbook or your balance sheet is different than racial reconciliation. Some think reconciliation means downplaying the truth and softening the tone to make white people feel more comfortable. Some think reconciliation is various marginalized groups negotiating over the scraps of white privilege. You have heard it said that reconciliation is the method of choice for those too cowardly to seek real justice. But God says unto us in Scripture that God's beloved Son was sent to reconcile the whole world to God, that we might love every single human being of every tribe, tongue, and race made in God's image, and that heavenly shalom might prevail over all the earth. Reconciliation is the process of rejecting the whore of Babylon, the logic of empire wherever it is manifested, including here in America, and reconciling instead us to Jesus Christ, the one who was crucified by an empire built on political, economic, and military supremacy. Sound familiar? Don't get me wrong, I am a patriotic American. I love this country. This is my country. But I'm a patriot, not a nationalist. I don't believe in my country, right or wrong. I believe that the naive embrace of American exceptionalism by American Christians is a dance with death. We cannot continue to be complicit in our nation's attempt to turn everything into a vehicle of profit for the wealthy few, extracting profits from war, from prisons, from public schools, from our natural resources, from undocumented immigrants, from the poor, even from our children. God has something to say about an empire that is relentless in squeezing out profit from the poor, from the endless demand for more bricks with less straw. We must be unreconciled to the whore of Babylon, the logic of empire, if we are to be reconciled to Jesus, our true Lord. And now, a confession. On behalf of Korean Americans everywhere, and by the way, I can take on collective responsibility because I'm Asian. You know, I often hear Western people say, well, I can't speak on behalf of anybody else. Well, if we're enjoying all kinds of things we don't deserve because we're a particular group, then we can confess that. And if we've ever said our founding fathers, then we're complicit for everything in this country, right? So on behalf of all Korean Americans, and by the way, other Korean Americans can make a counter witness if they want. They're free to do that. I confess and ask forgiveness from our Native American sisters and brothers for occupying houses and businesses on land that you once rightly stewarded without any sense of remorse or gratitude. On behalf of Korean Americans, I ask forgiveness from our African American sisters and brothers for being more clever in extracting the benefits of white privilege than any other minority group, all on the backs of the suffering, sacrifice, and courage of the African American community over hundreds of years. On behalf of Korean Americans in this country, I apologize to our Latino sisters and brothers for climbing the social ladder and then kicking it away lest anyone compete with us for the false and colonizing title of model minority. On behalf of all Korean Americans, I apologize to our white sisters and brothers for not speaking the truth in love, for not teaching what we know about community and collective responsibility. I hope all of our Christian sisters and brothers will forgive me, will forgive us.
Thank you.